And we're back. Okay, this is session 3, Mission Project Service mini webinar series on understanding the different funders. And I'm Artie Pingold, and wearing what my wife calls my happy shirt. Nice bright colors. Also, for those of us not to be too crass, for those of us looking for grants, it's the color of money, as they say over here. So anyway, with that in mind, let's move ahead. So last week we did the smaller foundations. In fact, I'll flip back very quickly to let you know where we are in the process. We did the smaller foundations. Today we're going to do the large and integral, as well as the church administered foundations. And then next week we'll talk about government. So let's go to the large and integral foundation. You know, as I said before, you know, the larger foundations out there, and a good example might be, for example, the Hilton Foundation and the Hilton Fund for Sisters. The Hilton Fund for Sisters is a smaller foundation that has clearly defined grant projects that they're looking for, and they operate both as an integrally connected foundation and also as a clearly defined foundation. But the larger Hilton Foundation is a very good example that it's extremely integral. They're absolutely concerned with every part. And I can say this having gone through the process with them, which is a very lengthy process. They are concerned with every part of project cycle management. So what are the characteristics of these larger ones? You have to have a larger need and typically cover a larger area. I think one of the reasons that we may have qualified in years past is because we're trying to help all of you, literally 500,000 missionaries out there, larger area, the world. So we sort of met that. They have a longer application process, and they do seek an ongoing relationship. So for example, our application process really took place over 8 months and involved a couple of in-person meetings. And the good news is, much like a commitment over that period of time, it was an ongoing relationship. So we continue to stay in touch, and that is not only talking about what we're doing with the grant, but it's their inquiring about what our ongoing needs are. So a relationship with a larger foundation can be a good one, not just in terms of the amount of support you get, but the amount of time, the commitment of a potential funding relationship. The foundation, however, might be more directive. It will have clear opinions about, for example, how to address malaria in sub-Saharan Africa, or what type of pastoral efforts it wants in a given situation. It also may impose or strongly urge you to do certain things that conform to other issues that are important to them. For example, climate change. I know foundations now that are requiring some indication of an attempt to use solar panels, for example, in terms of generating power. And they certainly make it clear that they favor applications that implement new technology for climate change. But that's an example of them being more directive. Sometimes it's harder to initiate with them because many of them will say, we only deal with the clients that we deal with, or they will not publish a formal application process, and they make it pretty difficult. There you either need to get an introduction from someone who has worked with the foundation or someone who knows somebody in the foundation, or a recommendation, or they may come to know about you. We got a grant once from the Ford Foundation because one of the board members of the Ford Foundation was a friend of one of our missionaries. It was no more nor no less than that. And knowing that person helped us get in. They then agreed with the particular project that we were working on, which happened to be, it wasn't MPS, it was a program of dialogue with Islam. And interfaith dialogue was particularly important to the Ford Foundation at that time, just as an example. But they'll oftentimes look for innovation. So if you do feel that you have something that is really new in addressing an unmet problem, this might be a great home for you on that. Sometimes they may want to innovate to the point of even missing out on what the real problem is. We had a situation once where in dealing with schools in Haiti, they said they wanted something new and innovative. And new and innovative, for those of you who have been in Haiti, doesn't necessarily work that well. What works is being there day after day, day in, day out, taking care of these kids, some cases taking care of their parents, but teaching them basic literacy skills, basic mathematics skills. So it's that kind of commitment. So here what you have is, to use a better example for the larger ones, here's the foundation. They will oftentimes have field agents. For example, the Porticus Foundation. They have agents in Europe, in Canada, in Africa, and in the United States. These particular field agents, they're looking to find organizations that match the priorities of their foundation, and they're inviting applications in. Sometimes people will bypass the field agents. It doesn't mean you'll fail, but if you don't go through there, you go directly to the foundation in one of its offices there too. So that's larger and integral. And I might have gone a little bit more over our time because we don't want to burden all of you out there. We know you have very busy schedules. So I think I'll stop there, and we may wait until next week and take it up with the church administered funders. Thank you very much.